What's going on? My name is Chris, and in this video I am happy to show you how to build a $10,000 website in less than one day using AI. So, got a presentation here that I want to talk with you through, a few things to show you as far as some resources and tools that you may or may not be aware of to help accelerate this workflow. Show you how it works without necessarily needing any specific type of AI. I personally use Claude Code. This has all been dialed into a Claude Code workflow for me, but it can be done using other AI tools that you don't necessarily have to have Claude Code to do this for you. So what we're going to talk about here is the AI-powered framework for business websites. These are professional websites that could be sold easily at $10,000 for the build or more, depending on how you like to position yourself. Now, I do want to show you real quick the example website that this right here has built for us. So let me switch over. All right, so what you see here is the CC Strategic website. This is my partner, and this is our website here. I built this in less than one day. So this is actually built using React, JavaScript, Claude Code, did all of the programming for me according to my specifications, used the workflow to get this to be interactive, tactile, with a unique aesthetic that I dialed in, and it is got all the bells and whistles that you would expect a premium website to have. So it's rather beautiful, it's mobile optimized, it's fast loading, it's fully within my realm to customize and improve, and I can pretty much do what I want with it. I will also show you how to deploy a website like this online for free. So I don't pay for hosting on this. It is deployed, it is online, and it is working just fine. So now that you've seen exactly what we are going to be doing as far as the quality goes, let's look at the actual workflow itself, how it works, the framework, what the principles are, all that good stuff. All right, so the problem with most AI built websites is that they look like garbage. There's a terminology called AI slop, and that is essentially what we are avoiding in this process here. We don't want it to look like every other AI generated website, and we don't want it to not speak to the audience. So an important aspect that I didn't cover when I demonstrated the website mostly was showing the aesthetic itself, but everything is meticulously written to speak to our target audience in a relevant way and in a non-generic, non-actionable way. So copywriting is important, and whenever it comes to building websites with AI, you're generally going to get generic looking templates and crap copywriting and essentially have to start over again and again and again. But the secret to this is it's not about the AI, it's about what goes on before you build the website. Like, how do you essentially plan for this website and get it all dialed in before ever implementing any type of design code at all? So we essentially have three pillars behind the effectiveness of this website. First one is going to be the context. It's the who and what we're trying to say. So who are we talking to and what are we trying to tell them? And then the website needs a goal. Our website is sort of a hybrid, but it is an authority site at its core that does have an action-based goal to book a call with us or fill out a form. Essentially, it's fill out a form, and then the second step is to book a call. If they don't book the call, then we follow up with them to get them on the calendar. And then the last thing is, what is the visual appeal? What is the aesthetic that you're going for? This is where the design ties into place. And we're trying to, once again, create something a little bit unique, create something that stands out and that shows that you are premium, that you are professional. We do this with a four-phase framework. So the first phase is to lock in your messaging. This is a discovery type of phase where you are going to figure out exactly who you're talking to and why. The next is going to be to lock in the aesthetic, how it's going to look. Then we're going to scaffold out the application that will serve as your website itself, and then we will deploy it and ship it live online. So before we touch any code, the first phase of this, we're going to talk about the avatar, the ICP. So who is this website attempting to serve? Then we want to nail the elevator pitch, get the core messaging down. You should be able to instantly speak to what your main benefit is to the person that is needing that benefit the most. And then you want to understand the goal of the site. Are you trying to build a general authority site where it's more about getting repeat customers or getting your people to keep coming back, such as a blog site or education site? Or are you trying to get a direct response, maybe converting them into a sale, or you're trying to get them to book an appointment? What is the goal? And then you want to have proof points, the credibility, the aspect of trust. Your site should deliver this through the aesthetic, the content, and any other proof points that you can come up with. What you'll get through this phase is an output of your context document. It's your brand context. So when doing this, you can bring anything that you already have. So you don't necessarily have to start from scratch. I didn't. I reviewed a few other things that I've got and put it into my Claude Code workflow that I created. And it helped me dial in the messaging behind our brand. It also helped me nail the elevator pitch that we have, which is essentially our headline and our subheadline. And it works to do so in an iterative way. So you can prompt ChatGPT or any other AI to work with you on specifically getting the brand contents document completed, that you want it to ask you questions and discover things if it doesn't have the answers. Take whatever context you have to turn it into something a little bit more dialed in and structured. And you can basically ask it for everything that's on this previous slide here. All of these bullet points say, I'm trying to dial this all in. And ChatGPT or whatever AI you use will help you to get your document created. So, essentially, once you have your document down, we're then going to talk about the aesthetic direction. We want to lock in the visual identity before we actually start building things. It's really difficult to iterate on the overall design and brand after you've gone through, a couple sessions or you've gone into it for a little while and you realize this is not what you want. It can be a little bit tedious to fix things rather than plan in advance. So what I like to do and what I suggest you do is find some references. I've got a few things that I can show you here. So what you'll see here is a website called One Page Love, and I've been sort of browsing through and looking at a few of the references that I found. But let's go into the home page here of One Page Love. And what you can do, it's a collection of thousands of one-pagers, and it's all curated. And you can scroll through here and find any type of website design that you like the aesthetic of. And you can snippet things, or you can grab the entire page as a screenshot. The way that you can do that, let's say we find one that we like. I'm going to look through and see if there's anything that kind of stands out. Perhaps we look at specific types. Let's say that we wanted to build a landing page. And let's say that we like this one right here, which I've already looked at once before. Let's look at Quid AI. So we can open this up into a new site. I'm just going to decline that. So it's all here. Let's say this was the general aesthetic, kind of minimalist, good use of white space. The colors they give a little bit of excitement to the overall design. There is a Chrome extension that you can install called Go Full Page. and you can search for it. And what it does is it will go through and you can screenshot the entire website pretty much instantly. You can download the PNG and send it to whatever AI you want to analyze the design of a website and grab any aspects that you want out of this for design inspiration. So that's one place you can go, One Page Love. You can also look at Awwwards, I guess Awwwards with 3 W's. And there's a lot here that you can find. A lot of really interesting React-based websites, which is what ours is a React website. But a lot of really interesting ones. Let's say you wanted to go with like kind of a hacker vibe. This website right here is definitely developer-oriented, hackerish, retro gaming vibes. Really cool, really neat aesthetic. You don't necessarily have to follow the overall structure of the site, but the aesthetic, the design principles, the colors, the ways that certain components have glow effects, the way things can be interactive. This is a little busy for me, but at the same time, there are some elements here as an aesthetic that could be cool to replicate in a new website build. You could also go to the Y Combinator. And if you go to the Y Combinator and click on companies and go to the startup directory, you can check mark the recent seasons for the Combinator rounds. This is where businesses start up and they try to get funding through the Combinator, and you can click through here and find websites that you like and see what their designs are like. Utilize the Go Full Page Chrome extension to then take that screenshot into your AI. So I'm not going to go too deep on the Y Combinator. These 3 websites will be linked below. You can check those out and browse, but the ultimate concept is to get your 3 to 5 references that you like and work with your AI to essentially break down what the aesthetic is as a description. Describe the aesthetic, describe the things that you like, describe how components should look, what you want your buttons to kind of look like. I'll give you an idea of one that we used. So pointwise.io. As you can see, the colors are going to be very similar. There's that sort of grainy film color on the background that is kind of sort of involved in ours. It's a little bit lighter on ours, but it's very techy feeling. Ours is a little more tactical feeling, but this is definitely very techy. It's very interactive. And there were some elements that I liked about their website. I liked the way that the button had this like glowing effect. And so we sort of replicated something similar on a couple of our call to actions. And anyways, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at. Find something where you can take a little bit and work with. And then you can dial it in through iteration with your AI to get the descriptions down. And then whenever you start prompting something like AI Studio with Google, that's if you don't have Claude Code, you could use AI Studio and let Gemini 3 build your website. It would respond really well to these types of prompts and build these types of websites for you. So that would be my recommendation if you're not using Claude Code, would be to use the aistudio.google.com and run this through Gemini 3. So let's move on. All right, so find your 1 to 5 reference sites. You're looking for inspiration. You're not trying to copy them. Extract things like the colors, the typography, the component styles, and then build what I call a component playground page. And this is essentially like outlines for how you want specific components to look. And then from this, you can even have the AI create some of the design tokens. So how the CSS should be variables, like what kind of variables you may need, and get the CSS started. So what you should get is essentially a style guide along with how you want your CSS variables to be utilized within this style guide. So Go Full Page, that's one of the tools that I use that I talked about. Another one is called Live Frame. So when I'm actually developing the website inside of Claude Code, I use an extension called Live Frame. And what that does is, I will show you actually. My VS Code is a mess. So, all right, so we are now in my VS Code. And the way I set mine up with Claude is I like to run my terminal here on the left, and then I put all of my documentation, the editor view on the right. And then I will hide the menu option if I'm not necessarily needing to browse my directory by doing that right there. Now, live frame looks like this right here, and I'm not sure exactly what it's configured to, but I will just click on show and run commands, and then I click on this, and it opens up my local host right here on the right side, and I can quickly iterate chatting here with Claude Code, and then seeing the updates happen in real time on the right. So it gives you sort of that lovable kind of build experience. And if I need to at any time, I can always open up my browser to the local host 3001, and I can see it in an actual browser full screen. I would say that's probably the only qualm that I have with this, is it's hard to like get it opened up, but I could, if I wanted to, copy it into a new window and see this thing full screen if I wanted to. But then that kind of takes away from the side-by-side view and that aspect of things. But Live Framer, you can go to your extensions, and it is called Live Frame. This is what it looks like. You can install that. It's real easy to get up and running. You essentially go into your settings. So if you go to Preference, User Settings, click on Extensions, find where it says Live Frame, and then once you're here inside of Live Frame, you want to type in the URL, localhost 3001, close it, saves automatically. Now whenever I go to show run commands and I click on Live Frame open, it's going to be configured to go to that URL. That's all it takes. Really simple setup. So go through that process, get that done if that's something that you're interested in. And then the component playground, it says see everything in one place, but really it's more of like a description or prompt library to help describe what you want your components to look like. And once you have something that's approved, I mean, you could iterate on the components and actually just design the buttons and just design what you need. Have your AI like Gemini build like a single page application with components that you're wanting to test. And say I want to put a card component button, I want to put a grid, I want to put a call to action button, and I want to work on designing what these components should look like. And then once you get those dialed in how you want, have them turned into reusable components. And then as you're building your actual page, section by section, hero section, benefits, process, FAQs, services, team or about us, all these different sections, have them built as components, and have these section use your reusable components. That way you have a one-stop place that you can update. If you need to change a button, you change the reusable component and every button updates to match that. Also allows you to iterate more quickly, to dial in what you want the small details to look like, and then just use them as Lego blocks and just start constructing the whole thing in one go. So now that you have your blueprint, you build with it. And this is where the scaffolding comes out. And when it comes to this particular approach or this workflow, the content is all included in what I call a seed.json file. Once again, I'm going to switch back over to VS Code. All right, so I'm now in VS Code, and the seed.json file, this is where the actual content of our website is. So the actual components themselves that make up the sections, which on the left-hand side, can click on components and sections, and you'll see that we have a hero component, we have a multi-step form, the navigation menu, problem section, all of this stuff. All of these are essentially functionality and the design and layout. This is also where a lot of the interactive elements come into play and the tactile aspects come into play, but the actual words, the content, the messaging, everything is here. So systems that scale, strong businesses don't scale on effort, they scale on systems with an accent there. That accent is actually put into the hero page to render this word as a green color. So this right here is a sort of modifier on this word that's built into the code of the hero section. And this allows you to do one important thing. Assemble it all in a way where it is decoupled from the design. It lives in one structure file. The components pull the data from the seed, and you can change your content without having to touch any of your code. Just a single JSON file. And it's important that you might want to use this for future websites as well. So now we want to talk about deployment. Now this is probably a video in and of itself, kind of a process to get something deployed, but essentially the way it looks is using Digital Ocean. They have a free tier, and the free tier lets you deploy 3 static site applications for free. So you would then send your website to GitHub, to a repository in GitHub, and then you would set up your account and your first application to be a static site app that is connected to the GitHub repo. And then every time that you push your website to the repo, it will auto deploy inside of DigitalOcean and be ready in about 2 minutes or so. That allows you to continue to work right here inside of your system, your machine, and then any changes you make, commit to GitHub, version control, so you can roll back to previous versions if you need to. If you make a mistake or something, all of your previous versions are saved in GitHub. And then it's a continual improvement, continual development pipeline, meaning you can just keep building and iterating on your website in time as much as you want to. So the static export creates a fast, secure, and cheap hosted website. Pushing it to GitHub is an automatic trigger deployment. You can configure your website inside of DigitalOcean, and you're live in minutes. It doesn't take days to do this. Output from this, live production website. So, why this framework works. Strategy first, not generic AI garbage. It's got a nice aesthetic to it. You can get something consistent, professional every time. It's content driven, so you can easily update and change any of your content, replicate it however many times you want to using the seed.json approach. It's AI-agnostic. This can work with any tool. In fact, you could probably take the transcript of this video and lay out these concepts to Google Gemini and tell it to build you the approach and how to use Google Gemini with this framework. And I'm sure you could get this entire framework working for you in less than a day for free. Then once you have it down once, you can rinse and reuse it as many times as you need to. So key takeaways is, don't let the AI build until you've already done enough discovery. Understand what you want and be able to clearly communicate it. Have AI structure your thoughts into clear, concise prompts and instructions, and then use those instructions and prompts to then build what you're trying to get done. Lock in your aesthetic before you ever try scaffolding, as that's going to save you a lot of time and headache. Use the seed.json so that you can have repeatable structures. And then make sure that you're always approving things, and use GitHub for version control, because if things break, you have a way to roll back. Now here's what you can do right now. Take this framework, like I said, grab the transcript of the video. YouTube allows you to do that. Grab the transcript, go into ChatGPT, Claude, or any other AI. Start with phase 0, define your brand context. Find the reference sites using some of those sites that I shared with you that are repositories of curated site designs that are really nice. Work on your components using those site designs before you start developing your full pages. And then you have in your hands a 10K website, one-day repeatable system. You can use this over and over again every single time, or just build a good website for yourself one time and maybe never worry about it again. But if you're servicing clients with website jobs and you want to give them really high quality websites, you can now charge a premium, or you can use the fact that it is premium to get them to convert at a more modest rate. Well, that is about it for this video. Thank you very much for taking the time to stick with me. If you are interested in getting your hands on the Claude Code automation that's already built and ready to go, the workflow that I use, it will be made available here soon. It's not available just yet, but it will be made available here soon. Maybe if you're watching this video and it's been out for a month or so, it's already available. Who knows? But it's going to be in our school community. If we're a little bit in the future from now, it's in the school community. But as of right now, it's not there. So join our school community. It will be hitting the community soon as a free resource. That's in the description below. And also make sure to like and subscribe. So like this video if it's one that you found value in, and subscribe to my channel, as I've got a lot more that I would like to showcase and share with you in time. Thank you once again. I'll catch you in the next video.